So have you ever been in the situation where you've just felt totally convinced that someone is your person, but even though you feel that way, the relationship just feels so hard, it's so painful and confusing. It just feels like you're waiting and hoping, but nothing really settles. Well, what if the reason why all those things are happening is because you're just not aligned with that person? So in this video, I'm going to share some signs that will make you know that you're just not meant to be with that specific person. And I'm also going to be telling you how you can release them from your life without feeling that you're giving up on love. So stay tuned. So if you're new here, my name's Rita and welcome to Empowered Love Within. So on this channel, it's all about helping you achieve the abundance that you want, but from within. So if you like that type of content, hit the subscribe button and also check out the description box for my offers and my course. So when we think about that specific person who we feel that we truly love and we feel that we're meant to be with them, it's so hard to let go if you come to a point where things aren't working out. You kind of ignore the intensity of it because you feel like this is destiny and that's your specific person. But the thing that you've got to realize is we don't attract people into our life randomly. When it comes to attachment, the fact is that your nervous system likes familiarity. So even if something's not the best for you, if it feels familiar, you're going to feel like you want to stay there. But the important thing to remember is true alignment never ever feels like a real struggle. It might be hard at times, but it shouldn't be so difficult where it just feels hopeless. So I'm going to kick off by telling you some key signs that will make you know that you're just not meant to be with that specific person. So the first sign is, in terms of the relationship, you feel more anxious than peaceful. So if you're having a relationship with your specific person and the whole experience just makes you feel tense, you're on high alert, you're overthinking all the time, there's not really much happiness or consistency, that's a key sign that you're not meant to be with that person. The thing is, relationships can get difficult. No one ever said that they're going to always be smooth sailing, but you shouldn't be in a constant state of anxiety. You should be feeling more at peace than anxious. Another key sign that you're not meant to be with your specific person is most of your focus is on a future potential. So it's almost like you're not actually truly having a relationship with that particular person as they are now in terms of that particular version of them. So it's more a situation where you're thinking, do you know what? When they change, I'll be able to love them more. Or, do you know what? When they stop doing that particular thing that I don't like, that's when I think the relationship would flourish. Or when they stop showing that particular negative behavior that I've told them about, that I'm waiting for them to change, that's when the relationship's really going to take off. I always say this, and it's a golden rule, and it's something that I really stand by. The version of the person that you meet, right? That's the person that you've got to be prepared to live the relationship out with. So the fact of the matter is, the version in which you meet your specific person, you've got to understand that that version of that person may very well stay the same throughout the course of the relationship. You would hope that there's growth. You would hope that everyone's striving to heal, to be better, to improve their life. But the fact is that doesn't always happen. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're not happy with the person that you meet in terms of the version that they are right now, you need to really think about whether you and that person are meant to be together. Because true love is based in the present. It's not based in someday or in the future or what there could be, because there's no guarantee that that person will change. So if you feel that you're not truly in love with the person who they are now, that's a sign that you and your specific person is not meant to be together. So the third sign that will show up when you're not meant to be with your specific person is the fact that you have to abandon yourself to keep them. Relationships are all about compromise. Yes, that's right. And it's all about give and take. But you shouldn't be in a situation where you have to completely abandon your needs to try and keep that person. So for example, if you're overgiving to keep that person, if you're not being open and honest about what your needs are for fear of the relationship ending, you're not living in your true authentic self. And that's a sign that you're abandoning yourself for the relationship. And that never works out well in the long term. So when it comes to the next sign, this is the fourth sign that you and your specific person are not meant to be together. What will show up is you'll realize that the relationship seems to be a cycle rather than actual growth and progression. So what I mean by that is you may realize that you have extreme highs and then extreme lows in the relationship where you just hit rock bottom, and you may make up, break up, you repeat that pattern. It's very chaotic. No matter how much you try to get it on track, it just doesn't seem to be working. That is a massive sign, and it's telling you, listen, this is not the person that you're meant to be with. And it takes a real brave person to be able to accept that and to be able to move away from that relationship. But the relationship should not feel chaotic. It should feel relatively steady. And I would say the sign that shows up when you're not meant to be with your specific person is something doesn't quite feel right in terms of your intuition. We all have a gut feeling, and a lot of the time you ignore that because of just other reasons. For example, you may just desperately want to cling on to that love. But the fact is, a lot of the time when you're not supposed to be with that specific person, you feel it in your gut. Your intuition does tell you. And often when something feels a bit off, you feel it in your body first. And I think it's fair to say that a lot of the time, you know, really, don't you? You know when you're not supposed to be with that specific person, but it's about being ready to accept that. And I know that that can sometimes take time, but your intuition will be shouting out at you that this is not your person. And it's so important to get to a place where your faith is stronger than your fear, and you can lean into your intuition and know and just accept that that isn't your person. One of the deeper truths that people often miss when it comes to relationships are people get so hung up and caught up in the idea that when you have a connection with someone or you've been together for a while, I think a lot of people forget that not all connections are supposed to be forever. Some are only to take you through a particular point of your life, and they're there for you to learn lessons. And the key thing is you're learning lessons about yourself. It's so easy to project onto the other person and think about what they're not doing or what their contribution is to the relationship being poor. And don't get me wrong, there's a place for that, but you're going to get so much more value out of focusing on yourself. So what is that relationship showing you about your self-worth, for example, about your attachment styles, you know, about your wounds, whether childhood or the certain traumas that you've had in your life? What does that relationship show you about all of that? And if you would just take a minute to realize that if you're seeing those signs that I've just gone through, the likelihood is you and your specific person, you know, you're just not meant to be together. If you would just accept that and take a minute to really analyze yourself, you'll get so much more value, and you'll realize that the growth will come from analyzing yourself and understanding yourself a bit better. There are so many relationships that come to us to promote our healing and to help us look at ourselves deeper. Some of the moments in my life that have promoted the biggest growths, has been heartbreak or what felt like heartbreak at the time. And then you go through it and you realize that actually there was a purpose behind all of that. And if you can come out the other end understanding yourself better, understanding your patterns, understanding where you need to heal, where you need to work on yourself, you just get so much value out of it. What you've got to remember is when you let go of something that isn't right for you, something that you've now outgrown, you make space for true aligned love. And isn't that what you're looking for at the end of the day? That's what you want, isn't it? You want true aligned love. But it's just that you're stuck on it should be with that person. But should it really? Why does it need to be? You might feel that it should be because you're so caught up on maybe a fantasy. But as I said, the real growth comes from having more faith than fear. And when you do that, that's where the real growth comes from. Remember what true alignment looks like and what it feels like, and it feels consistent. It feels safe, it feels fun, it feels like mutual giving and receiving of love and respect. When you're with the right person, love flows. It doesn't have to be forced. And as I said, that's not to say that an aligned relationship is without its issues, because we're being realistic here at the end of the day. But, you know, it should be a fun, exciting experience. It shouldn't be constant worry and doubt and fear and anxiety. That's not what aligned love is. And it's so easy to forget that when you get caught in that pattern. But I'm here to remind you that's not what true aligned love is. So remember, if someone's not aligned to you, don't feel like they're being taken away from you. Understand that, you know, them being removed or you being apart is creating space for something greater for you. So if this video resonated with you, check out the description box and find out more about my course. And also subscribe to the channel and also like the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.